Welcome to ACC Student News, the news students can use. I'm Ivy.
And I'm Mike. Here are this week's stories.
LeBron James and his son, Bronny James Jr., made history on the basketball court. They are the first father-son duo to play on the same team in the NBA, and they checked into the game together during their season opener. But shortly after the game, they were sued after a car crash in 2022. As of now, there is no further information.
McDonald's official released a statement that California-based onions were the source of a deadly E. coli poisoning outbreak. They state that Taylor Farms in Salinas, California, sent onions to one distribution facility that led McDonald's to remove quarter-pounders hamburgers from restaurants in several states. This outbreak has sickened at least 49 people in 10 states, including a person who died. The U.S. Food said that Taylor Farms issued a recall for peeled, whole, and diced onions. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration did not confirm that the agency investigating Taylor Farms.
The owner of the Dali container ship that crashed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge has agreed to pay more than $100 million in damages. This agreement comes as a resolution to a lawsuit filed by the U.S. Justice Department. According to the Justice Department, the settlement agreement would pay $103 million in funds that would go to federal agencies affected by the collapse. The state of Maryland is pursuing separate damages alongside dozens of others who have made claims against other companies since this disaster.
The two brothers who fatally shot their parents are seeking a resentencing. Eric and Lyle Menendez are seeking a change in their sentence from life without parole to 50 years to life. Their defense attorneys for the brothers argued they were sexually abused by their father and after 2 trials were convicted of murder. The first trial resulted in a mistrial after the juries deadlocked when the brothers made allegations about the sexual abuse. In the second trial, the abuse allegations were limited in court. The brothers were sentenced in 1996.
A skull from a teenager in the 1800s was found more than 45 years ago in Chicago during a home renovation. The skull was identified as Esther Granger, who died more than 150 years earlier. She was born in 1848 in Indiana and was only 17 at the time of her death. The skull has been stored in a museum in Batavia, Illinois. Announcements in forensic science had determined that Miss Granger was buried in Maryville, Indiana in 1866, and they believe that the reason her skull was over 80 miles away was due to a grave robber.
15-year-old boy has been charged with murder in the shooting deaths of his parents and 3 of his siblings. He is being charged with 5 counts of aggravated murder in the slayings of his parents, Mark and Sarah Humiston. 2 brothers ages 9 and 13 and his 7-year-old sister. According to court documents, he called 911 with a false story about this 13-year-old brother shooting the whole family and committing suicide. However, at the same time, his 11-year-old sister had ran to a neighbor's house and was bleeding from a gunshot wound. She told dispatchers that her whole family was fatally shot by the 15-year-old and then said she was shot, but said she played dead to later escape through a bedroom window. He is currently being charged as a juvenile and judge will determine whether his case will be moved to adult court.
Soon, the largest YMCA in the country will be opening at the former Woodmar Mall site in southeast Hammond. The new YMCA will be located at Indianapolis Boulevard and 165th Street. Hammond contributed $10 million to the 120,000 square foot 2-story YMCA. It will be similar to the one in Crown Point, but 35,000 square feet bigger. The new YMCA will build an outdoor water park with water slides, lap lanes, zero-depth beach entry. It will extend from the indoor pools and may displace the nearby strip mall on 165th. And the cost of the project is $75 million.
That's all for this half of ACC Student News.
Stay tuned for more news.
Welcome back to ACC Student News. I'm Sasha.
And I'm Aiden. Here are some more stories.
Famous rapper Lil Durk has been arrested by U.S. Marshals in Florida. The Chicago native is being charged of murder for hire plot after the death of rapper FBG Duck. As of now, there has been no further details released by the police.
Vince McMahon, along with the WWE, has been accused of failing to stop sexual exploitation of young boys. The lawsuit was filed by 5 victims that were being abused by a ringside announcer. In the 80s and 90s, boys as young as 12 acted as ringside assistants. These alleged sexual assaults were not only at the ring, but allegedly this also took place at hotels and other venues. As of now, Mr. McMahon and the WWE claim these allegations as false.
Liam Payne has died after falling from the 3rd floor of a hotel in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Payne's body was discovered after emergency services responded to a call from staff at his hotel. During the event, Mr. Payne's body was highly influenced by drugs and alcohol. His tragic death has left fans and the music industry in mourning.
An 8-year-old Colorado girl fought against the intruder wearing a clown mask. According to a neighbor, Thomas Gallegos, entered the girl's room in the morning and blindfolded her. When she woke up, she fought back and she was struck in the head by the suspect. Gallegos was arrested on suspicion of attempted kidnapping, assault, child abuse, and burglary. The victim suffered a contusion to her right eye and a laceration to the back of her head. Police located a clown mask and a pair of gloves in the girl's room. Gallegos was identified as a suspect through security footage.
The relationship between North Korea leader and Russian president is becoming more closer. These 2 leaders signed a diplomatic and defense pact during their last meeting, in which North Korea has already provided thousands of containers of munitions and fuel to Russia's war with Ukraine. There are now reports of that North Korea will be deploying troops to Ukraine. U.S. officials announced that they have evidence that North Korea sent 3,000 troops to various military bases in Russia. Russia's Kremlin previously denied the reports and branding them as fake news. That's all the stories we have for this week.
Make sure to check out the rest of our videos on YouTube.
And follow us on Instagram at ACCtv Hammond.